Hey, so in making this video, I'm well aware that I'm opening myself up for potential heat from feminists and others. But I do think there are important points to make, important points to reflect on in light of the Me Too campaign. Has Me Too hit a peak? I don't know. I think maybe it peaked around late 2017, but still very much in, let's say, social vocabulary. So obviously, there's been revelations this year about the actor Bill Cosby, and he has really fallen from grace. Now, I've no sympathy with Bill Cosby. I think that there is, in his case, no smoke without fire, and I've no interest particularly in defending him. Right? I want to be very clear about that, and I also want to be very clear that I think regarding the Me Too thing, there is definitely issues of powerful men abusing their position. That's absolutely a problem. And as a man, I recognize that. But there's a video that's online and it's been seen many times now. It's re-emerged because of the Bill Cosby situation. And it is the Colombian actress and model Sofia Vergara. And she was a guest on the late night show. Bill Cosby was standing in for David Letterman. Apparently, she was 30 years old at the time. This was 2003. So basically, there's been a lot of commentary about this video because Bill Cosby's whole demeanor is a bit sleazy. I believe it is. I believe he was acting in a pretty. I think he crossed a line. Basically, he was just being sleazy. But I've seen this a few times, and I do think there is another side to it. If you look at that video, it's very clear that Sofia Vergara is uncomfortable with his blatant sexual innuendo and his he's sort of getting right into her personal space and he's just being sleazy. And it's not like a tactful, classy sort of compliment. He's being sleazy, right? But firstly, she's 30 years old. She's not an innocent little girl that didn't, that's vulnerable. I think she knew full well what she was doing insofar as she clearly went into that studio wearing a sexy dress. She is a very attractive woman. There's no question about that. I think most heterosexual men would can recognize that. She's got low cut top. She's a sexy dress on, and she's clearly went into that studio to look as attractive as possible. And there's a point at 41 seconds on the link that I'll show where she gives this little wink as if when Cosby says something about "you look great tonight," she gives a little wink and looks down at her low cut dress. Now you can say she was kind of going along with it, and it's clear she was genuinely uncomfortable. But I do think there's a side to Me Too that is a bit hypocritical. Women flirt. Women do use their sexuality. It's just a fact of life. And one thing I don't like about Me Too is that it portrays men entirely as sexual predators, as sleazebags, etc., and portrays women as completely innocent. And I don't think it's that simple. Yes, there are sleazy men out there, and like I say, I think Cosby's behaviour was, I certainly wouldn't behave like that, and I don't think it's appropriate. And she did say that she was uncomfortable. He should have stopped at that point. But when a woman glams herself up and wears a sexy dress, do not tell me that she doesn't want attention. Please. I think there is a fundamental dishonesty about that. And I know as a man saying that, people will say, oh, you're condoning that behavior, you're condoning this, that, and the other. Firstly, there's never any excuse for sexual assault. That's that. I just I think there should be a bit more honesty from women, quite frankly. Women do flirt, they do, and they do use their sexuality. That doesn't mean it's an invitation for a guy to be sleazy, but I think there is dishonesty here. I really do. And this is probably It's maybe not the best example because I think she was genuinely uncomfortable, but by the same token, she didn't go in there, as a shrinking violet. She's an attractive woman and she was using her attractiveness to its full extent. And anyone who cannot see that is being willfully ignorant. So I've no sympathy with Cosby. I think there is, in his case, I think the allegations probably do stack up. But I think there's other situations where, men are crucified if they just look at a woman. If you are an attractive woman and you wear a low cut top, men are going to look. It doesn't mean that men have a license to, be sleazy or for sexual assault or harassment or anything like that. But if you're an attractive woman and you wear a sexy dress, men are going to look. And I just I would like to see a little bit more honesty in this regard. And again, she was 30 years old at the time. She wasn't like a child or a teenage girl. She was a grown woman, and she knew full well what she was doing when she went into the studio. It's not an excuse for his behavior. Like I say, I think he went too far. He should have had more self control. So I don't want people saying, "Oh, you're blaming the women." No, I'm not blaming women. I think men should have self control, but most men are not sexual predators. Most men are not sleazebags. But most heterosexual men, if they're being brutally honest, will look at sexy women. They will. It's just a fact of life. If I see a woman and she's attractive and she's wearing a sexy, tight dress, I'm going to look. I'm not going to stare at her. I'm not going to ogle her. I'm not going to harass her. But it's chemistry. It's just in the male DNA. And I think at best it's ignorance, but I think it's actually just dishonesty. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.